review this game. So this is French defense. White plays e5. So this is advanced variation. Knight f3. White is supporting d4. This is one of the book move. So play queen to b6, aiming at d4, and white play d3. And that is a trap, because if we take the pawn, and if white takes exchange everything, and after bishop b5, we'll lose the queen. There is a discover attack. And so, but we can still take the pawn. And the thing is, when we take the pawn, the pawn is pretty weak after exchanging the d4 pawn. So the c3 pawn kind of replaces the d4 pawn, but this d4 pawn doesn't have any other pawn protecting that. So we can exchange the pawns and play bishop d7 to prevent bishop b5. So now we have a threat on d4. So white has to move the light square bishop either to c2 or e2. So in this case, I think white is slowing down the piece development, because bishop to d3, and he has to move the bishop to like either e2 or c2. And if bishop c2, I think we can move the rook. So we are like, we can attack the bishop like with the rook. And also I'm thinking knight b4 straight away is something we can consider. We can trade the bishop with the knight, or later with the rook attack the queen after the trade. So we can speed up our attack on the queen side. So for example, if castle, take, can we check that? Yes. So knight c3, and we can play knight e7, then the knight to c6, we can still attack on d4, and we can control the c file. I think the position favors black. And so yeah, that is the thing. The bishop moved to d3 and c2. So it's a little bit slowing down in piece development. So in this game, that we'll play bishop d7, and I think white should take the pawn. And if we take that, we can attack f2. So white probably castle. I can play a5. Yeah, I think it is still a good position for black to play, and the e5 pawn is a little bit isolated. In this game, white played bishop c2, and we can take the pawn. Yeah, that's good. And we can control the c file. This is the open file. And here we play knight e7. So I would like to move the knight to trade with this light square bishop, because this bishop is really strong. And later we can move the g8 to c6. Otherwise, if we move knight to e7, if we don't move this c6 knight, it's hard for our e7 knight to maneuver, because the other space, the other square is f5, but I mean white can take the knight, and we will have broken pawn structure. So I would trade the bishop first and move the g8, and later to c6. And white castle, nice. Knight f5, yeah. So as I said, so this pawn is a little bit weak. Knight c3, knight bishop e6. This bishop is a really good defender, but on the other hand, it's blocked by our like 3 pawns at the center. Bishop e7, and develop it. I'm thinking, is e7 better or b4 better? Yeah, maybe e7 is better. Yeah, I think we need this dark square bishop. If we move to b4, and potentially if we trade with the knight, the dark squares are a little weak. g5, exchange, and we can win the d4 pawn, right? I think that's a mistake white has made. We can win the d4 pawn, but we didn't take that. Knight e2. Yeah, I think we can take the pawn. there shouldn't be any problem. Rook to d1, attack our knight. We can move it back. If we take our pawn, we can take. Oh no, not the e4, but rook to d8 probably. Check. Okay, white could potentially protect e5, but we can take a4. And take f4, and we can play a6 to trap the knight. Yeah, so I think we can win the pawn. Castle, take. We are still attacking d4. I think we are still better. The question is, how can we attack the d4? Knight e2. Take the b7 pawn. Well, I'm not sure if we can win pawns after queen b2, because after rook b1, we take another one, rook b7. Yeah, it looks fine, but the b7 rook is really annoying. Yeah, and also what about queen to d3 and this rook to b1? I don't think we can protect the pawn. Maybe queen c7, knight f4. How about this e6, queen d7? I feel like we are a bit passive protecting these two pawns. Okay, yeah, I think take the pawn is fine. We can win the pawn, but the white can get some positional compensation after taking b7 with rook b1. Another thing looks interesting is pushing pawn to f4. Maybe you can push to f3 to create a pawn exchange. And this is something we could think about. We can move the rook to the king side potentially. White take the pawn, queen a6, rook d7. Yeah, this rook is a little annoying. We should trade the rooks. Queen c8. Yeah, I mean, I think rook d8, we cannot trap the rook. The rook can go to d6. I think the best way is offer a rook trade like this. And if go to c7, now we can trade the, we can trap the rook. Yeah. So maybe I will miss the move, rook d6. And after rook d6, the rook is attacking our two pieces. And now our queen is very passive. So if we think about the move from our opponent, we would not play queen to c8, I think. Yeah, now we are a little bit passive. Trading. Yeah, it's good. I don't think white should trade that. Maybe white should play queen a4 and take. This pawn is not easy to attack. Queen c1 and queen a6. So we cannot take the pawn. The queen can take our rook. So now white is active, more active than us. So take queen a4, queen b6, rook c1. Yeah, I think white is very good at controlling open files. Rook e7, queen d7. Yeah, that's really annoying. And white is starting rook c7. This is a little bit hard to defend. Maybe king f7, rook c7, and we have to protect with the rook, and we'll lose a7. Okay, so the best move is a little bit unintuitive. That is rook c8. Our rook is is hanging. The knight is pinned, but we can stop queen to d7, and white play knight f4. We use the king to protect that. So I think maybe later we can play rook to e7 to trade the rooks. So what about if we take them with a knight? Is that better? Queen a4, queen c6, offer a queen trade. Yeah, maybe that's better. Queen e7, queen e3, threatening here, queen e7. Yeah, maybe that's the way we can make this square safe, and later king c8, rook c8, trade the rooks. Yeah, this is a little tricky. I think white is really good at finding our weakness. If we don't play queen d6, queen d7 is a really interesting move. Because if white, for example, move the rook, we can play queen knight e5. And we can weaken another pawn. Because if you take my queen, I can take your queen, and then my knight is not in danger. And if you take my knight, I can take your queen. Yeah, queen d7 is a really good move. I think we can try this out. If queen goes to a6, we can move this rook. And rook to c1. And we can probably rook b6. We can attack the queen and protect the knight. Yes. Okay, so knight e7, queen d7. We play knight g6, rook c7. Yeah, then we are losing because yeah, these two pieces are really strong, and we cannot protect g7. Yeah, that's it.